Hi, I'm Dr. Jennifer Degler, and this is our third video in our series on helping your stressed out brain chill out. And in this episode, we're going to talk about what you can do to manage your anxiety. And we're going to talk about nutrition, sleep hygiene, exercise, and medication. And then in our next video, we'll get into techniques where you use your brain to help change your brain. But I did want to talk to you first about some other things that you can do to help manage your anxiety. But before you try these, I do want you to see your doctor, check with your doctor, and to make sure that these are okay for you to try. Because some of them do involve supplements and things that, depending on conditions that you may have, they may not be okay for you to try. But first of all, nutrition. Here's some things that you can do nutritionally to help you if you suffer with anxiety and worry. Anything that is good for your heart is good for your brain. So if you're listening in the news and they talk about how, oh, this is found to be really good for your heart, it's also going to be good for your brain because that's involving circulation. And so right off the bat, then we're talking about omega-3 fatty acids. And a great source of omega-3 fatty acids is fish oil or krill oil. This is an example of krill oil that I take every day. And I'll provide some links to order these products from Amazon in the notes below if you're interested. But you can get this really at any store. You can use fish oil. A lot of times people will burp fish oil and they don't like that. If you keep it in your refrigerator so it's cold, you're less likely to have that burp issue. Krill oil, people don't tend to burp krill oil like they do fish oil. Now, omega-3 fatty acids, there is not a standard FDA recommended amount of omega-3 fatty acids. And it's hard for the average American to get enough of them in their diet. Salmon, walnuts, leafy green vegetables are a great source of them. But for a lot of us, we do need a supplement. And I'm going to recommend to you a very high level of supplementation if you are dealing with a lot of anxiety and worry. Maybe you even have an anxiety disorder. That is, in fact, the anxiety disorders are the most common psychological disorders in the world. 1 in 5 Americans has an anxiety disorder. It's equally distributed between men and women. So this is very, very common. And so what I'm going to recommend to you is 2,400 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids a day. Now that is a really high amount. If you are on blood thinners, you should not take that much omega-3 fatty acids because it does thin your blood. So again, if you're on a blood thinner or you've got some kind of blood issues, please do not take this amount of omega-3 fatty acids. Talk to your doctor. But if you have been dealing with anxiety for a while, if you will take 2,400 milligrams daily, so this is 350 milligrams. So I would take, several of these to get up to about 2,400 milligrams. But that can really help your nervous system get in better shape. Also, medium chain fatty acids, and coconut oil is one of the best sources of medium chain fatty acids. And so the recommendation is a tablespoon of coconut oil a day. And so you could cook in coconut oil. A lot of people do that. They cook their scrambled eggs or something like that in coconut oil. You can put it in a smoothie. I tried putting it in my oatmeal. I didn't like it in my oatmeal, but you could try doing that. What I do is I take coconut oil capsules because that way I take a couple of these a day. That way I can take it because I don't really like cooking in coconut oil, but a lot of people do. The thing about coconut oil, the medium chain fatty acids, one of the things that they're investigating is when people have Alzheimer's disease and then after they die, when they do an autopsy on their brain, they notice that the gray matter in the brain has become sticky. There is something about that Alzheimer's dementing process that the brain is sticky, and these medium chain fatty acids seem to slow down that process of that brain matter becoming sticky. So, check out the medium chain fatty acids. Low-fat cheese is another good source of medium chain fatty acids. And then vitamin D. Little old vitamin D. This is an easy one. Remember, just a little teeny tiny little capsule of vitamin D, 1,000 to 2,000 international units a day. This one is, I'm trying to think how many units this is per day. But many Americans, many people in the world, but particularly Americans, are deficient in vitamin D because we need sunlight to make vitamin D, and we're just not out in the sun very much. And when we are, we're wearing sunscreen. And so when you are deficient in vitamin D, one of the symptoms is anxiety. So if you're deficient, that's going to make your anxiety worse. And if you're getting your blood levels checked, ask them to check your vitamin D levels and try for blood levels that are above 50 ng, not mg, but ng as in Nancy, ng per milliliter. The recommended level, the bottom of the normal level is 30 ng, but we find for anxious people, they really need a vitamin D level in their blood of at least 50 ng. So that's something you can have your doctor test for you and see how much vitamin D supplementation that you need. But definitely just take one of these as well. Okay, so let's say you're taking these every day. Let me tell you something.
That was easy.
That's the easiest thing I'm going to tell you to do in this whole video series, is just take some of those supplements. So if you don't do anything else, at least do that, and you're helping your nervous system get some nutrients that it needs to at least have a chance in being healthy. You can also help nutrition-wise if you will keep your blood sugar stable by eating protein with every meal and every snack. If you're just eating a big carbohydrate snack, what's going to happen is you're going to get that sugar spike, and then you're going to kind of crash. And coming down off of that sugar spike, it can make us feel anxious. And if you're already prone to anxiety, then you're kind of looking around and go, oh, I feel jittery. What's wrong in the world? Instead of realizing I'm feeling jittery just because my blood sugar is going all over the place. So if you're going to have an apple, great, have some peanut butter with it. If you're going to have some crackers, have some cheese. Just try and include protein in every, hopefully you're eating 5 times a day. You're eating 3 meals and 2 snacks a day, and eating enough so that that blood sugar stays stable. And then I also recommend you stay away from cats. Now, not the meow meow whisker kind of cats, but CATS stands for caffeine, alcohol, tobacco, and sugar. Those 4 things do not help you if you really struggle with anxiety and worry, because the caffeine, again, it gets you hyped up, and then you come off of it and you feel jittery. It makes you feel jittery. Alcohol is a depressant. Many times people who struggle with anxiety and worry, they may use alcohol as a way to take the edge off, but that's just, then you get dependent upon the alcohol instead of really learning to manage the anxiety in healthy ways. And of course, tobacco as well. This is not good for your circulation, not good for your brain. And then sugar, as we said earlier, what that does to you. So avoid caffeine, alcohol, tobacco, and sugar. Second thing I want to tell you about is sleep hygiene. So important, we talked about this in the previous video, that you are sleeping well. Now, not everybody needs 8 hours of sleep a night, but you do need at least 6 hours of sleep a night. And some people need 10 hours of sleep a night. So I really encourage you to shoot for 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And we want to make sure that when you go to bed at the same time, you wake up at the same time, that you've made your room dark, that you've made your room quiet. You're doing things to try and help yourself really have the best shot possible of sleeping well. If you've got a husband that snores or a wife that snores, like I do, I recommend Max earplugs. They are amazing. They're like putty, and they're much more comfortable in your ears than traditional foam earplugs. that has enabled me to be able to keep sleeping in the same bed as my husband. And I sleep much better, and they're much more comfortable. And I'll provide a link for those as well. Max earplugs, you can find those, at Walmart or someplace like that. And if you are waking up in the night, you can try, Dr. Mark Wrights, he's a psychiatrist here in town. He has a sleep cocktail that you could try for a week or two and see if this helps you sleep through the night if you're tending to wake up. And here's his sleep cocktail. 30 minutes before you go to sleep, take 3 to 5 milligrams of melatonin. And you can find that, I'll provide a link to it, but you can also find that at probably your grocery store or a Walmart, of melatonin, 3 to 5 milligrams of melatonin. And then take 250 to 1,000 milligrams of tryptophan. Now, I have found that you have to go to a vitamin store to get tryptophan. So maybe you go to a GNC or your vitamin shop to get tryptophan. It is kind of expensive. It might be $30 for a bottle of it. So start out with 250 milligrams, and then you could go up to 1,000 milligrams of tryptophan. Take those with a third cup of tart cherry juice. Now, this isn't cherry juice like High C. This is tart cherry juice. You may have to look in the health food section of your grocery store to find it. It is very, very tart. Don't brush your teeth before you drink this, because it will set your teeth on edge. It's like drinking a sweet tart. But those tart cherries are a very good source of tryptophan. And you're only taking a third a cup because you don't want to have to get up in the middle of the night because you have to go to the bathroom because you drank a whole bunch, 30 minutes before you go to bed. So you could try that sleep cocktail for a week or two and see if that doesn't help you get back in the pattern of sleeping all night long. So in our next video, we're going to talk we're going to talk about exercise and medication, and as well, just a little bit about, if you are a Christian, some concerns that we have and myths about anxiety.